Hey podcast fans, this is episode 30. So, you might remember in episode 18, we had some prophecies, which Dan does not remember whatsoever. And those prophecies were, 1. Dan says the N-word. 2. Dan mispronounces a Greek word. Obviously going to happen. And 3. We mentioned Peterborough services. I'm not going to try and allude to this, but it might happen, so keep your eyes out. Dan is none the wiser. Enjoy.
Welcome to Myths.
I'm Matt Huss.
And I'm Dan Rhodes. Whether you know about Theseus or you're revising your syllabus,
If you want tales with a bit of jest, or you just want to hear about incest.
What?
What? It's really interesting.
Welcome to Myths. Welcome to Myths.
¿Cómo está? Welcome to Myths. We started on a Spanish one this time.
Yeah. ¿Cómo estás?
Sí, señor. What does that mean?
¿Cómo estás just means how are you?
Oh, sí, señor.
How are you?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Señor. Yes. Está good. Danke. Gone to German
German
again.
again. On German again.
Well, why don't you speak Spanish and I'll speak German? Because you speak a bit of Spanish, don't you?
Well, only from when I was in South America.
Oh, I'm Dan. I've travelled the world. God, you sound...
Okay, so I'm going to speak Spanish. You reply in German.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Come. Hola, Matt.
Hallo. Hallo, Daniel.
¿Cómo estás?
Ich bin gut, danke. Und dir?
Bien, gracias.
Bitte.
Hasta luego.
Du bist ein Schwarzkopf.
From what I understand, that was, hello, Dan, how are you? I'm good. You? I'm good. See you later. Go suck my dick or something, whatever you just said.
Well, I meant to say Schweizerkopf, but what I said instead of Schwarzkopf.
Doesn't that mean shithead?
Yeah, Schweizerkopf, but I actually said a Schwarzkopf, which is blackhead. Go away, blackhead. It's less of an insult.
Isn't Schwarzkopf after a
Yes, yeah.
shampoo? Yeah.
That's why I said it.
Yeah.
It's just, capitalism's always on my brain, Dan.
Anyway, how you doing, Matt?
I'm very good. Do you know why I'm very good, Dan?
Why are you very good?
Because we've had a very, very special communication and correspondence through the Miss Podcast email. Damn, that's the episode 4 trumpet. Stop using it. Like, you're so reckless and irresponsible with it. I'm going to have to take it off you, okay?
I'm using the episode 4 trumpet.
I told you we can only use it once, and you keep on using it. Reckless abandon you.
Who's the email from, Matt?
Well, you might not know her.
Because, people actually email in, by the way. People who don't email in.
Yeah. Oh, you sad little lives. Oh, look at me. I don't email people in. That was the impression of them. But this is what cool people sound like. Dan, you may not know this person, because you often do forget this person, as you have done in the past. This is from Chris Rhodes. Now, who is Chris Rhodes, Dan?
Chris Rhodes, it turns out, is my mum.
Yes. Well, it's not a documentary kind of thing. You haven't just figured this out. What happened in the previous episode, we got an email from Chris. Hello, Chris. Pleasure to meet you. That's also a callback.
That's an inside joke, yeah.
In previous episode, we got an email from Chris with Dan's report card for GCSE, for A-level.
And I was in Istanbul at the time.
Yes, and I messaged Dan, oh, do you know who Chris is? Chris Rhodes. And Dan had
No, actually, you said, hey buddy, hope your holiday's going well. What's your dad's name? And I was like, I was on holiday with my dad at the time, so I was like, oh, my name is Andrew.
I said, did he email him to the
And he was like, oh, did he email his podcast? I was like, no, my dad's name's Andrew. And you were like, oh, no, this is a Chris. I've got a good friend of mine, Chris, or my best friend Chris, so I was like, oh, maybe it's Chris. And then you were like, no, a Chris Rhodes? And I was like, I don't have any relatives called Chris Rhodes. And then I remembered that, that's what my mum's called.
And
I always forget my mum's name.
We mentioned this on a previous podcast, and we have a response to that podcast, Dan. And the subject line is, hello from Halstead. So the email goes as thus: Dear Matt and co-host, whose name I have temporarily forgotten. Yeah, that's right, she's throwing some shade your way, Dan. I've just listened to your last 2 podcasts. I was doing my housework at the time, and it made the cleaning more entertaining. Which, that's a review and a half. Stick that on your iTunes. Firstly, I need to clarify something. When I sent you the critical thinking report card, I sent you the picture and I wrote a few lines underneath. I don't understand why you got the picture but not the text. And we actually looked back on the email and your mum did write something, but we didn't read it out because it didn't show up on the phone. Basically, she called you an idiot. So,
Okay.
Basically, you weren't going to get that A as you claimed that you did.
Okay.
More of a D.
My mum called me an idiot.
Well, she didn't, but I read through between the lines.
Okay.
But your mum has one of the funniest emails. I'm going to keep on reading it out. Secondly, having listened to the podcast from Wimbledon, Matt's Caravan, and a service station, not just a service station, Peterborough Services, the god of all.
Mum.
I would like to invite you to record from Halstead. And
Halstead, Matt, for the love of God, stop butchering. This is my hometown.
Sorry, you have to
grew up here.
I think I'm saying
My
it
family and friends live here.
because it's spelled Hal Stead, and so Halstead.
Halstead. There we go.
Yeah.
Say it like an Essex person and you'll say it right. Halstead. You're saying it weird.
Halstead.
There you go. There you go.
I can
There you
get
go.
kicked in the nuts at the same
There you
time.
go.
Halstead.
There you go.
That's
how you say it.
I feel so deeply uncomfortable.
Well, actually, if you really want to say it SEC, as a lot of people say, you want to. You don't pronounce the L. Halstead.
Halstead.
There you go.
Oh, I feel so manly. I would like to invite you to record in Halstead. I would be delighted if you could. That way I could finally meet you, Matt, and you will see the difference from, quote, meeting someone, end quote, and email and actually meeting. It's very different. So, again, your mum...
Throwing shade.
Yeah, your mum goes on. Thirdly, and this is a quote, mum thing to comment on, but on your bottom... on the bottom of your podcast description, Antigone 22, where you tell misters to give 5 stars, I think you have a typo. It says that you're exempt. Basically, there's a big typo in there.
Okay.
And
what is the typo?
Basically, it says it says however when it's supposed to mean hangover as well. So Dan, who does the summaries? Who does the podcast descriptions?
I do. Who should read through them before they put them on the link, Matt?
You. And this is my favourite part of the whole podcast, because a couple of episodes ago we discussed... Dan and I don't really know a lot what we discussed, but we mentioned about hymens, didn't we?
We did. We
and
discussed hymens. We asked basically our question was, what is a hymen?
And your mum replied with, and lastly, a hymen is a membrane and not a piece of plastic. Why did we get this? Why did we ask people to email us in?
For the record, Mum, we did know it wasn't I don't know, obviously it's not a piece of plastic. I just wondered what it was. How thick is it? I don't know.
Don't ask. That's so weird. More importantly, can you get into a jar? I am thrilled that I get a mention and will continue to listen every week. Love to you both. Chris, Christine, Mum, Mother, Mummy, Mummykins. And she ends with this. Daniel John Rhodes, this is from your mother. Don't forget my name again.
I did feel bad forgetting my mum's own name.
So I also emailed back. Basically, she invited me to visit, and before she did, she goes, "Before you stay here, I have to confirm that you are not as scared of snakes, chameleons, giant snails, and rabbits, as they are all in the house." That is quite the menagerie, isn't it?
Yeah, my sister has loads of pets dotted around the house.
And so she's asking if I'm scared, because she writes this. If you are frightened of small writing, anything is possible. Ha ha. Chris, you can't mock me for that. Small writing is a real phobia, I'll have you know.
Mum's got a point there, Matt. You were terrified of me writing things down really small. How are you going to cope around... Yeah, we have a chameleon, a snake...
I don't mind all that, just small
good.
writing. It's like the devil's work.
Insects and whatnot.
But yeah, well, I think we should go down to Halstead. You can't see Dan's face, but his teeth literally gritted at that.
Halstead. Why are you saying it's so weird?
Halstead.
Wait, mate, you going to Halstead tonight? Yeah.
Going down to the pub.
Good. That's how we all spoke. I think it'll be a good... Because I had a cultural experience, didn't I, in Yorkshire, and I learnt a lot about the North.
Yeah.
And I think my views changed, genuinely, for the better. Let's see if your views can... Because what do you think of Essex right now? You've never really been, have you?
I imagine a lot of fake tan.
Yeah, that is going to happen, yeah.
A lot of people getting boozed.
Yeah.
A lot of people being like, oh yeah. You know, actually, this one time I did actually stay at my friend Andy's house, a very dear friend of mine, and Andy's one of my true uni friends, and he's one of these people that We used to drink quite a lot together. Went to a weekend at his in Billericay.
Billericay, that's very Essex.
Went to the Forge pub, and wow, a lot of people got murdered there. A lot of cocaine. We got hammered this weekend because Andy's into like sports and stuff like that, and we went to his friend's house to stay, and we drank through the night, got very drunk, and in the morning at 9 o'clock on the dot, the Lions game was playing, England Lions, and Andy at the crack of 9 o'clock as the game started, beer open, and I was like, I can't even look at a beer right now. And we started drinking throughout the game, and the game finished about 11 o'clock, and we were walking back to Andy's house, and we decided to have a beer on the way. We decided to have a beer in a bus shelter in Billericay. And
that's a very Essex experience you've had then.
Yeah, it was quite. And the funniest thing is that we were drinking like cans, and we were both kind of hammered, like half cut in the middle of the day. And the funniest thing is this mother and her daughter, like really young daughter, walked past, and the mother just gave us such a scorned look, just looking at us as we were sat in a bus shelter drinking Fosters. So I've had quite an Essex experience.
That is quite an Essex experience you've had there, Matt.
So maybe we can recreate that experience.
And then I can ask you questions on. Well, the last time we saw your old school and stuff. This time I'll take you to my old school. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll do a Dan Pub quiz. Also, thank you for getting in touch. Because a few people did actually get in touch about the Matt Hoss Pub quiz. Some people did better than I expected. Shout out to Hayley and Rob, who because I mentioned drinking Friary Gardens, drinking WKD. Hayley
was there that day.
Yeah, Hayley was there, and she was like, LOL, blue WKDs. And, I'm paraphrasing, but she thought it was amusing. And my brother didn't score that well, but we'll talk about that in the next podcast as well. Anyway, we've got a brand new, very exciting couple of myths coming up for you in the next couple of weeks. So, let's start, shall we, Dan?
Let's begin. Let's begin.
Welcome, one and all, to something we've been looking forward to for a while. This is the start of the Trojan War. Bah! Okay.
Bom bom. Bom bom. Bom bom. Bom bom.
Right, Dan.
Bom bom bom. Sorry, stopping now. I was trying to be dramatic.
It was very dramatic. However, with the Golden Fleece, you start off doing the Golden Fleece. You realise you have to do it about 15 more times in the space of an hour. We got a lot of these episodes.
Smash through this.
So how is this going to work, Dan?
We're going to read it, I guess.
Well, I mean the whole series. So the way we're going to do let me. Guys.
I thought you were saying how does the book? I was like, we read out myths. What are you on about? What do you mean? How does this work?
The way it's going to work is every single for the next couple of episodes, we're going to be focusing on the Trojan War, all different aspects of it, what happened before, during, and after, and the outbreak, and everything in between. Really, all the stories that happen in the Trojan War, give or take, so we'll kind of be flitting across the timelines, but everything's kind of connected. So today we're going to be starting off with the outbreak of the war and how it all started as well, and then. In the next couple, so the next subsequent episodes will have different stories, but they all seem to be tied to the Trojan War. That sound good, Dan?
That sounds good.
So it's all part of a series, but individual episodes.
Yeah.
And again, we'll be ranking individual myths because they are individual myths, but we are, it's part of a series. If you know what I mean. Excited, Dan?
I'm excited.
All right. This our first one is about the outbreak of the Trojan War, and it's called the Judgement of Paris.
Today, beauty contests often lead to arguments among competitors and spectators. In Greek mythology, there was one beauty contest that would lead to war, death, and destruction. And that beauty contest was the Judgement of Paris, one of the starting points of the ultimate destruction of Troy. This is where it's all going to start.
Yeah, so this is the start of the downfall of Troy.
It's like when Franz Ferdinand got murdered and it kicked off the World War I history. Yeah. The Judgement of Paris was ultimately a beauty contest between the goddesses, but the cause of the beauty contest was due to events at a wedding. The wedding in question was that of Peleus and Thetis. Peleus was a noted hero of Greek mythology, and Thetis was a Nereid nymph. Zeus, having married off the nymph to circumvent a dangerous prophecy, he feared he was going to be replaced by Kronos. Oh, okay. They love a prophecy.
So let me just tighten up what happened there. So Zeus set up this marriage between Thetis and Peleus because basically it was like a loophole for him. So like he thought there was a prophecy he was going to get replaced like he did to Kronos. So the only reason he created this marriage was to stop that from happening.
Yeah.
And it's quite, at least, for Zeus, it's actually quite a tame way of sorting stuff out.
The wedding of Peleus and Thetis was a joyous event, and all of the gods and goddesses of the Greek pantheon were invited to the celebration. That was all the deities were invited, but Eris, the goddess of discord and strife. Don't want her coming to a wedding.
Yeah, I think she'll kind of mess it.
Yeah.
Like, if your name is the goddess of strife, maybe leave her off the wedding list. But then again, it is a little bit unfair to be like, hey, who have we got on the... If you found that you're the only person out of your whole friendship group that's not invited, that's a bit of a dick move, isn't it?
When Eris discovered the festivities were going on, the goddess decided to make an appearance anyway, and the goddess even brought a wedding gift, a golden apple. This, though, was not a happy gift, for it was aimed to bring forth arguments, for upon it was written the words...
Read it out, Dan.
It's in Greek fucking alphabet.
Yeah.
Which means, for the fairest. When Eris appeared at the celebrations, the goddess threw the apple amongst the assembled gods and goddesses.
Okay, let's dig into that. Firstly, what was that word again, Dan? I don't know why I found that so funny. It's like you're grinding meat.
Literally, when I saw it, I was like, that's in Greek. I have no idea how you say that. I know what it means, though. It means for the fairest.
Oh, how do you figure that out?
Well, I know Greek, don't I?
Is that how it's pronounced? So, Eris is pissed off. She's like, you know what? Fuck these bitches. She's like the Alanis Morissette of the gods. She's like, I don't need these gods in my life. So she creates this contest for the golden apple, throws it like a bouquet at a wedding. What happens is goddesses kind of get a bit angry about that as well. So Eris is there to kind of create discord and strife. That's her job anyway. Quite ironic because they brought it upon themselves.
Yeah.
So the goddesses compete for the golden apple. 3 of the assembled goddesses immediately claimed the golden apple for themselves, each believing that they were the most beautiful of all the goddesses. Which also isn't the reason it says for the fairest, not for the most beautiful.
So they're like, I'm the fairest, yeah.
But they mean fairest isn't like most beautiful as opposed to literal fairest, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I just asked the mirror on the wall.
What does it say?
The mirror, mirror of the wall, who's the fairest of them all?
And they're like,
you, my queen.
Doesn't it have to rhyme? Doesn't it like...
I don't know, doesn't the mirror just say you?
Well, whenever I speak to my mirror, it's like, oh god, oh, is that a beating up Nick Frost? The 3 goddesses were Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love and beauty, Athena, the Greek goddess of wisdom, and Hera, the Greek goddess of marriage, and also the wife of Zeus, which is quite ironic, really.
Yeah.
That's like being the goddess of divorce and drinking wine at 3 o'clock in the morning. None of these Greek goddesses were going to give up their claim for the apple, for to back down would mean that they would be seen as inferior in terms of their beauty and to their rivals. Thus, the goddesses decided to go to Zeus for him to make the final decision.
So, you'd hope he'd pick his wife.
Yes, however, he doesn't... He's a bit of a... You know what? His action here is a bit odd. I'm going to say uncharacteristic like Zeus, because here's what he does. Zeus might be the supreme god of the Greek pantheon, but this was one decision he was not going to make, for he realised that making a decision would pit goddess against goddess, and would mean 2 powerful goddesses were angry with him, because he's only used to having one goddess angry at him. Therefore, Zeus proclaimed that the decision would be left in the hands of Paris. But before we get to that, so Zeus here is like, whoa, I don't want to be involved with this. I'm gonna give that to some poor schlum on the earth. But also, why would they want a golden apple anyway?
Because it's for the fairest.
Yeah, but like, what are you gonna do with it?
It's the same as having like, you have a rock, and people are like, that's just a rock. But the minute you tell people, oh no, this rock is like a special rock that came out of Elvis's arse, people will be like, I'll give you £10,000 for it. Do you know what I mean? It's just a label, isn't it? People will do anything for a label.
Where's that rock come from? Elvis's bum. I just imagine not like a rock, but like a sticker rock coming out of his bum. Yeah. Just on the inside it says Elvis's bumhole.
Yeah, he was all shook up.
So Dan, who was Paris?
Said he was all shook up. I'm all shook up. Continue. I know that was almost too witty for you. It's okay. I'll dumb down my jokes next time. Paris was not a member of the Greek pantheon, for Paris was a mortal prince of Troy, a son of King Priam. Paris would look after the herds of his fathers upon the Mount Ida. Very nice.
So, let's just take a snapshot here. King Priam. I'm
going to say Priam because in Troy it's played by Peter O'Toole, and they definitely say Priam.
Well, that's what I just said.
Priam, sorry. Definitely call him King Priam.
It's Priam. That's literally how it's spelled.
Priam.
No.
Priam.
Priam.
Could also be spelled Priam, though.
This is Primark and Primark, isn't it? They're literally the same debate.
Primark.
Primark. Priam.
Priam. Fine, we'll call him Priam.
Well, whatever you want, Dan, but I'm definitely right. No, I guess it's either way. But so he's the king of Troy, and he has many sons and daughters who each have their different stories, and the royal family of Troy is very important as well. And we'll come to them in due process, but do remember King Priam and his family. They also called the city of Troy Ilios as well. That's why the epic novel called the Iliad is about the war.
Oh.
Fun fact, right?
Fun fact. Matt's Corner. Paris had gained a reputation for making fair decisions unswayed by outside influences. Paris indeed had previously judged a contest about the quality of different bulls, a contest where a bull of Ares competed against one of King Priam's.
Sorry, just how fucking bored must they be? Is that, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have a competition comparing bulls against each other, and Priam are going to be the judge of that. And it's nice that his sole reputation is he just didn't pick his dad, he just picked a different bull.
Yeah, he's good at judging stuff. Paris did not realise who the owner of the first bull was, but saw that it was the superior beast, and so awarded the prize in preference to that of his father.
So he picks. So this is seen as like kind of a very pious thing to do, because he chose the god's bull as opposed to his father's bull. So he's saying that the gods are better than familiar stuff. So his devotion to the gods is better than to his family. Yeah. It's not, but so he's
not biased.
Yeah, but then again, it's also quite unfair. Like if a god submits his application, like he submits a bull to the human cattle competition. He's like. He just wants to win.
Yeah.
Also, I think the god of war, Ares, has a lot more things to do with his time than have bulls. Like,
yeah.
And he's literally going to have a 10-year war in his hands, and he's just playing around with bulls for the time being. God, get a better hobby, mate. Anyway, judging begins. So, Hermes called upon Paris and brought the goddesses and Paris together so the Trojan prince can make the final decision as to which was the fairest of them all. None of the three assembled goddesses were willing to let their beauty alone be the sole deciding factor in Paris's decision, and so each of the goddesses decided to influence the decision by offering bribes to Paris. So, after getting this guy who is totally unbiased, totally unswayable, and they bribe him instantly, but openly as well. So, they're going to promise Paris different things. So what do you think they might promise Paris?
Untold wealth.
Are you reading ahead?
Yeah.
Right.
A position in charge of the realm of the ancient world.
You're ruining it. No.
And probably, I know, flowers and a pint.
Okay. Well, if you were going to decide the fairest, what thing would you like to be given by a goddess? What the... Okay, right. How about this? Three goddesses, right? Claim to be the fairest. So, one of them is offering you a lifetime supply of Weetabix.
Yeah.
Another one of them...
That one.
Is that it? You know, the other one is eternal life and instant wealth.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because if I had wealth, I could buy Weetabix.
But you can't buy Weetabix.
Oh, no.
And in your immortal life...
you know what I would do?
Wait, your immortal life is sustained only by bananas.
Well, that's not happening. I'd rather die. I guess I would go for wealth, actually, because you could do a lot more with it. And there are other cereals available for me. I do like other cereals. So, heard it here first.
I am gobsmacked. This is unprecedented. What other cereals have you been seeing behind Weetabix's back?
I like Shreddies. I like Frosties. I like Cocoa Pops. I like Nesquik balls.
Nesquik balls?
Yeah.
Nesquik balls? Is that a real thing?
Nesquik, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like literal Nesquik balls. I was like, that is not an appeasing name. I imagine that bunny rabbit's Testicle. Wow. What would you offer me? What kind of thing?
What would Matt want? Be a famous comedian.
Well, that's going to happen anyway, so I don't need goddesses to help me with that.
One would be a famous
got 6-star rating, mate.
Yeah, one would be a famous comedian. One would be the ability to teleport, so you didn't have to drive to all your gigs.
Oh my god, that's so good. I literally...
Because I know that's a bane of your life.
God,
the ability to just go anywhere you wanted.
I would literally kill someone for that.
That would make your life a bit easier. And the third would be save all the animals in the world.
Oh! See, that's actually a really good one, because I'm actually really torn between the teleportation and the animals, because the teleportation would make my life 100% far superior, but do I save people? Probably have to save the animals, but I'd be begrudging them for the rest of my life. I could have been in Nottingham in an hour,
but now I'm in traffic.
I'm actually stuck on an Aegean boat for 2 weeks.
It's very noble of you, Matt.
But
so what we've established is given the option, you would save all the animals on the planet, and I would take wealth.
I think that kind of shows us.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
What would you spend your wealth on?
Saving animals, I guess.
No, you wouldn't.
I like animals.
Yeah, before we started recording this, Dan said word for word, I can't eat a vegan meal. I have to. Someone has to die in the order of me to enjoy a meal. So even if I ate a vegan thing, I would have to kill something in the process. That's what you said, Dan.
I did say that off camera. Off record.
Oh my god.
Whatever it's called. What's this device called? No, actually, my mum can email in and testify. I actually am. No, I am a big animal lover. I used to want to be a zoologist for a long, long time.
Did you want to eat zebras?
I still like meat, but I wouldn't eat... I do like meat, but I love animals in general. I like learning about them. I like learning about their habitats. I like learning about their qualities, anatomy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it tastes good, so... Got to eat a few to save a few.
Wait, how does that work? It's like we gotta imagine war times. We gotta save the Polish. Let's eat them.
Well, I guess in some ways that saying does make sense. Got to eat a few to save a few, in the sense that if we didn't eat cows, we wouldn't have cows.
That is no. That's not how that works.
It is true.
No.
If the whole world stopped eating cows, we're not just going to keep herds of cows as pets, are we?
Well, they can serve other uses. They don't have to. They don't have to be subject to slavery, Dan.
What would we use cows for if we didn't use them?
My point is, you don't need to use cows. Just let them live. Even if they're extinct, who gives a shit? Rather than die happy than be a use.
Okay. So you'd rather that cows not exist at all? Them all die out?
Yeah, you know what? Just to spite you and your stupid question.
Okay.
No.
You just feeding basically my phrase is correct then. Got to eat a few to save a few.
This is not.
Got to eat a baby to save a baby.
Alright, if you ever have children or a wife or a husband, it's 21st century, I'll eat them in front of you. Well, I had to eat them to save them before they got killed. That's your argument. I'm really tired.
But anyway, Paris has been brought. Paris has been brought to the thing. He's been brought up to the gods. I don't know how he got that invite, by the way.
Oh, you know what? Remember Bellerophon, who he was cast away from Mount Olympus because he wasn't a god.
Yep.
Paris got he got the fast track.
Yeah, I just got the chauffeur.
So Hermes brought him up. So the goddesses promised him 3 things. Hera would promise Paris untold wealth and a position in charge of all the realms in the ancient world. Although in other sources they do just say Asia, not just the whole realms, which is slightly more underwhelming.
No.
Athena would offer Paris all known skill and knowledge, allowing him to become the greatest warrior and most knowledgeable mortal. That's very good. Aphrodite, though, she offered Paris the hand in marriage of the most beautiful of all mortal women. So, out of those 3, which one would you choose? So, power and ruling, knowledge and kind of skill, or love of your life, the hottest lady ever.
I actually think I'd go for the love of my life. I think that'd make your life just a little bit better, wouldn't it? Just knowing you've got a partner in crime.
But it's not actually love of your life. The way it's phrased, it's actually the most beautiful of all mortal women. So she could hate your guts.
Yeah, she could hate my guts. In which case, I'd do skill and knowledge. If I didn't know that we were going to be soulmates, then it's skill and knowledge. Yeah,
I think if it's soulmates, there's a different thing. If you know what I mean. However, this is an important distinction here because it's not Paris' soulmate. This is someone Yeah, we'll get back to this, but make sure that distinction. It's not someone to be a soulmate, it's the most beautiful woman alive. And it's an important distinction.
Paris made the decision, and the judgment of Paris was that Aphrodite was the fairest and rightful owner of the apple. No doubt Paris was swayed by the bribe that the goddess of love offered the prince.
That bias is out the window.
Of course, the decision made by Paris was not well received by Hera or Athena. Both would hold a lifelong grudge towards Paris. The animosity of Athena and Hera would later be displayed in the Trojan War, when both goddesses sided with the Achaean forces, although Aphrodite would assist the Trojans.
So, there's some...
We all knew Aphrodite was the fairest, because she's famously the most attractive thing ever.
Well, yes. Well, let's... So I think fairest here, I think they do mean most beautiful, which is what is being judged on. However, the thing was... Instantly,
so spiteful.
They got into it. They knew it was a beauty competition, and they had 60% chance of losing that. Well, probably more because Aphrodite was in the running. So these two hate him just for telling the truth. If you know what I mean. Well, but I guess their point is that maybe it wasn't the truth. Maybe it's just because they gave him the best prize.
Yeah.
I hate how they just get instantly like, well, we're obviously going to kill all your forces then. Just a FYI, Achaean forces are the Greeks. Mm-hmm. So. Aphrodite is on the side of the Trojans because he's also the mother of one of the Trojans, who is a little boy called Aeneas. So Venus is on their side for a lot of different reasons. And this is, a while ago we mentioned Juno/Hera hates the Trojans. One of the reasons was this because of Paris. Another reason is because. Ganymede was the Trojan prince. He's actually Paris' brother. He became Zeus' butt boy. He's one of Zeus' lovers, if you remember that episode. So Hera hates the Trojans for that reason as well. So she's very jealous and she hates them. Yeah. Remember that. Tight little butthole. So that's just clarifying all that. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
But again, it's not really fair, is it?
No. Aphrodite would ensure that her promise of the hand in marriage of the most beautiful mortal woman was kept, and the goddess arranged for Paris to abduct Helen, the beautiful daughter of Zeus and Leda. Helen, of course, Clytemnestra's sister.
Yes.
They came out of these when Zeus was a swan.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. Because Zeus turned into a swan, quack quack, fucked Leda,
laid 2 eggs.
They came out of an egg.
Clytemnestra and Helen. Clytemnestra obviously doesn't get a shout.
Well, she is less attractive.
Yeah. Helen was already married to the Spartan king Menelaus, and the abduction would lead to 1,000 ships being launched to retrieve her.
So, this is what I mentioned earlier. So, Helen was already married to Menelaus, but the promise was that Aphrodite would help steal Helen away, which this is not really okay, is it? Because that wasn't really... so basically, they kind of steal Helen against her wishes... but maybe like a realistic flaw. Maybe Helen, she didn't actually like Menelaus. She actually did want to run off of Paris in real terms. But let's just say, for the sake of this story, I think she's abducted against her will.
Yes. Paris was eagerly awaiting his award for crowning Aphrodite the fairest of them all.
Just a little bit of background on Helen. Here's a little bit about her past.
Helen, in her radiance, had many suitors, and her father could not decide which one was best. Plus, those who were not chosen might retaliate against him. Eventually, one quick-witted man came to his rescue, the famous Odysseus. Here he comes.
Hello.
In exchange for support for his own marriage, he offered the following advice. Require all of Helen's suitors to promise to defend her marriage, regardless who the father chose. The suitors eventually, and with a certain amount of grumbling, swore the required oath. Finally, a man was decided for Helen. Menelaus. The decision was political, as Menelaus had wealth and power and was Agamemnon's brother. Unfortunately for all, Menelaus had made a huge mistake. He had promised Aphrodite a grand sacrifice of 100 oxen if he won Helen, a promise promptly forgotten after he received his prize. Thus, he incurred Aphrodite's wrath.
So, there's a lot to go on here. Firstly, we see a first glimpse of Odysseus being a cunning and wily gentleman. Respect to Odysseus, my pal. Odysseus gets like a he kind of gets a prenup of all the suitors.
Yeah.
So they're all will be kind to her regardless, if you know what I mean. So Menelaus is chosen to be the right one. However, the reason why Aphrodite doesn't like Menelaus, and I think the reason why she picked Helen as the most beautiful lady, because he was sacrilegious in her response to it. He forgot to thank her for the beautiful lady. So I think she has a personal grudge. Also, Menelaus and Agamemnon, two brothers, both double date sisters. So Menelaus is in a relationship with Helen, and Agamemnon is married to Clytemnestra. So they're kind of like little family.
Little family. Paris, however, did not forget Aphrodite, nor their agreement. He set sail for Greece under the pretense of a diplomatic mission in order to claim Helen. Before entering the palace, the goddess of beauty held up her end and ordered Eros to shoot Helen with his arrow. The moment she set gaze on Paris, Helen was in love.
So Cupid shoots his bow and makes Helen fall in love with Paris. Again, this is another instance of Aphrodite using Cupid for her own mission statements.
Paris didn't think this kidnapping was really such a big deal. There were plenty of men before him who had stolen women from foreign lands without repersecution. Jason, for instance, took Medea from Colchis, and Hercules captured the Trojan prince Heracyon without any issues. I think he's not forgetting that these are Jason and Hercules.
Two men who have very problematic relationships with women. For example, Jason, what did you do with Medea? Oh yeah, she...
you left her when she got old.
Yeah, and she cut up all your sons and daughters. Yeah, no repercussions, mate.
This is also the same Jason that married a queen and then left and told her he'd be back. And never came back.
Yes, totally. And Hercules, obviously, famously, murdered his wife. So,
yeah, I was going to say Hercules murdered his wife and children. So let's not.
I don't think Paris is a bad guy, but I think he's naive. If you know what I mean, he's like, this is not gonna go.
So saying kidnap isn't that bad.
Yeah,
Joseph Fritzl did it.
Oh, we're not going down this rabbit hole again. We had to edit out quite a lot from that.
Yeah. This time, however, was going to be very different.
According to Homer, it didn't go straight to war. Menelaus, obviously, he was a bit peeved, but he decided to first journey to Troy to seek a more peaceful solution. However, when that didn't work, Menelaus asked Agamemnon, his brother, to uphold the oath that the Achaean kings and princes had sworn to defend Helen's marriage. Remember that? So that is Odysseus' oath. So they all want to protect Helen, regardless of what happens to her. They had
regardless of who she's married to.
Yeah, so they all look up to it. It's like a timeshare, but not as creepy as I make it sound. So the emissaries were sent to them all, to every single Achaean prince and king, in order to retrieve Helen. Not all of them came willingly. Odysseus, for example, feigned madness in order to avoid the war. He tried to sow his fields with salt as proof, but Agamemnon's man tricked him into revealing his sanity. There's a lot of sadness in that line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just imagine what a shit job he is trying to pretend he's crazy. Do you reckon he's trying to be wacky? Like he's wearing a weird tie or something like that. It's just he wears knee-high socks or something like that. How would you try and feign madness, Dan?
I would feign madness by constantly telling people I'm not mad. I think that's the easiest way to convince people you are. If you went around every day being like, I'm not mad. No, not me. Whoo! I don't have voices in my head. Ha! People would be like, I think this guy might be crazy.
Your eyes instantly look very psychopathic.
Yeah, that's how I do it.
What this Agamemnon's man did, he placed Odysseus' infant son, Telemachus, in front of the plough's path, that the father could not fake his delusion anymore. So he swerved the plough out the way of his child to save his child. So it was either... So what they did was just put this the kid in front of them. It's he probably won't murder his own child, would he? But it's not the nicest way possible. But so another person.
Also, just because you're mad doesn't mean you wouldn't murder a baby.
Yeah, I mean I know many mental people that. Yeah, you're right. So Odysseus was signed up to the war, and remember that child's name, Telemachus. It's going to be important in the future. But another Greek hero, you might remember his name. Achilles, too, did not readily join forces. But who was Achilles? Here's a little bit of background. Thetis, the person who was married earlier, wanted her son Achilles to be immortal and invisible, and depending on the version, used different techniques to make this so. One source claims that she lifted the child by the heel and immersed him into the river Styx, which ran into the underworld. When she dunked the baby into the water, this made Achilles invulnerable, everywhere except where the mother had held him, his infamous heel. So he has a weak spot, his heel, the Achilles heel. So, the present day. Achilles' mum disguised Achilles as a woman, so that he would not have to go to battle. So when Odysseus, Telamonian, Ajax, and Achilles' tutor, Phoenix, came to fetch him on the island of Skyros, they could not immediately recognise him. So I just imagine him just like wearing drag makeup.
And his friend's like, has anyone seen Achilles?
No, I'm a Climia. Yeah. Just this buff dude, like, no, I don't know any Achilles.
Also, it's funny how he didn't want to join. Now, does he not want to join forces because he's like, I don't agree with this? Because surely it can't be because he knows. Does he not know he's immortal? He must know, isn't he? Like, Achilles is like a warrior, right? He knows,
and he loves killing people. He loves a good murder.
He's pretty good at it too, right?
Yeah, he's like a tank. You know? And well, actually, we'll talk more about that afterwards.
So he knows he can't be beaten, and that says something about. So is that what I'm saying? Is that morals, or can he just not be bothered? I'm assuming it'd be more morals.
I think he doesn't care about it.
Yeah, it's not his battle to fight.
I think he can. He doesn't mind going to fight, but I don't. He knows it's going to be a long one, and he doesn't. He wants to just spend time chilling out with his bros, you know, massaging, you know, playing COD. So he just can't be bothered. So he dresses up as a woman. Fortunately, they had a plan. The men pretended to be merchants bearing trinkets and weapons. They were then able to spot Achilles out the second he chose to look at the swords and spears rather than bracelets and beads. Bit sexist, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Atlanta could have been.
Yeah, Achilles. Who? Yes, Michelle. Yes. Got some things for you here. Got some beads and bracelets. Oh, very nice. Or a sword. Oh, yeah, I mean...
Yes! Took it to the limit! No,
I mean... I like... fuck it. Alright, guys, you got me, yeah.
How embarrassed would everyone be about that as well? You know, maybe that's his... Maybe Michelle, as you called him, was his true persona, you know? Anyway, the Achaean army was almost ready. All the suitors sent their forces to the city of Aeolus, and one by one commanders with the ships and men arrived. The last one to show up was Achilles, who at the time was only 15 years old.
Right, this whole time he's only 15 years old.
Which probably explains it.
And he's already like a warrior.
Yeah, but he's a proper lad. But then again, I don't think he's actually... I would argue he's a little bit older. I'm going to say 25. An omen then occurred. A snake slithered from a sacrificial altar to a sparrow's nest nearby. It ate the mother and her 9 babies, and was converted into stone. Troy, apparently, would fall in the 10th year of war. So it's an omen saying that with the amount of babies it eats, Troy will eventually fall in this time. And just like that, with twisted roots embedding, and the bud of the story was ready to break through the soil and bloom. Ultimately, Paris did not display the common sense that caused him to be made judge of the beauty contest in the first place, although whether a fair decision devoid of brides would have avoided him in future events is debatable. It was, after all, said that the Trojan War was an event planned by Zeus to bring an end to the heroic age, and a prophecy that had been made at the birth of Paris, that the newborn would bring about the destruction of Troy. So events had been preordained long before the judgment of Paris. So, was it Paris' fault? Or was it all destiny all along?
Do-do-do-do-do-do. Boom.
I hope you enjoyed the myth. Myths. Dan, did you enjoy that myth?
I did enjoy that podcast myth, yeah.
Fuck off. So did you know about the outbreak of the Trojan War before?
I actually did, yeah. All because I've seen the film Troy. 100% of my knowledge on this.
So you're going to be an academic on this one, yeah.
Have you seen the film, Matt?
Yeah, not for a long time.
It's a good film.
In fact, the only time I've seen it was like a DVD copy, which I got when I was like in 2003 or whatever.
It's a good movie.
Brad Pitt. Sean Bean plays Odysseus.
He does.
Yeah, that's it. All I know. Hector's quite good, isn't it?
Eric Bana plays Hector. Orlando Bloom plays Paris.
At the very end of...
Diane Kruger plays Helen.
You knew I was going to do a sentence. At the very...
Brian Cox plays Agamemnon.
Any more characters cast? You want to get IMDb up, mate? So, at the very end of Troy, they make a reference to the Aeneid, because when people are leaving, one of the boys, one of the elders goes to this little boy, not a little boy, goes to this young man and goes, "You're going to have to lead these people out of here, Troy, start a new land." And that boy is Aeneas. My homeboy, yeah, Aeneas! Can't wait for the Aeneid. So, within that, there's a lot within that myth as well. There's a lot of human error, a lot of god error, and, as I say, destiny as well. And a lot of misunderstanding as well. So, do you think it was right of Paris to take the girl?
Absolutely not. He kidnapped her, ultimately.
Yeah, and 1,000 ships were sent along that way. And we mentioned this before, the second book of the Iliad, the Iliad is separated into 4 books, or 4 chapters, and the second book, I think the bit which we decided about Achilles dressing up, that's in book 1, and the second book is it's called the Catalogue of Ships, and it lists every single ship that goes to. It's the most boring read I've ever heard. So, then Peleus from the Greek island of Skos. It's like, oh my god, like it goes on for ages as well. And we'll read it out to you sometime. So, Dan, shall we rank this, mother?
Yeah.
Tell us how it's done.
Life skills, morals, creativity, and WTF. Life skills, things that we have learned practically. Morals, things that we have learned morally. How does it affect us? Does it teach us anything about ourselves ethically? Creativity, how good a narrative is it? How good are the characters? Are there cool creatures inside? Writing, how much thought's actually gone into this?
Enough.
And WTF, how messed up is this? What actually happened? That's pretty... Oh, is there anything that's like, oh, that's a bit weird? Or is it just pretty plain Jane? Each thing is scored out of 10 to make it possible 40 points. Over to you, Matt.
If you say another casting from Troy, I'll hit you in the face. So, life skills. What have we learned? We learned how to steal someone.
Learn how to steal someone. Learn how to judge a beauty contest.
Learn how to judge a cow contest.
Yep.
We'll learn how to... How would you judge cows?
Well, there's obviously like farm shows and stuff.
Yeah, but come on, they're all pretty samey.
It's all done on
You want to eat them all.
I think it's all done on like everything. Is the proportions? Like, is it too big, too small? Does it have the right stature? Is it got a good meat, fat content, that sort of stuff?
Because you want to eat it, because you want to save its life.
Yeah.
What else? We learned how to prick someone with an arrow again. We just learned that twice in a row. We learned that... we learned how to get a prenup, that kind of marriage contract with everyone protecting Helen.
Yeah.
We learned how to start a war. We learned how to piss off gods.
Yeah.
We learned how to avoid getting gods pissed off by passing the book on to someone else. Good old Zeus.
Yeah.
He is such a crafty man. We learned how to get vengeance.
Learn how to get vengeance. Yeah.
We learn how to We learn how to dress up as a lady. We learn how to feign madness. We learn how to not murder a child. We learned how to buy weapons and bracelets. Yeah, and we learned how to mess up a wedding.
Learn how to mess up a wedding. That's true.
Eris was like, "F you bitches." I think that's a decent amount, but not overwhelming. I'm gonna say. Well, should we say it at the same time?
1, 2, 3, 5.
I was going to say 6. I think 6.
Okay.
You agree?
Yeah, go on then.
Morals. Don't kidnap people.
Don't kidnap people.
Especially if they're married.
Everyone is fair. Don't do a beauty. Don't get petty if you lose a contest.
Yes. Don't pass on your responsibilities as a god. Just own up and do it.
Yeah.
Also, try and seek peaceful solutions as well, because Menelaus actually was a really good guy by trying to go like, hey, can I have a back? You know what I mean? We learned how to support your bros by going to war with them.
Yep.
We also
Honor
learned,
and oath.
Yes, we learned how to avoid war, because, conscientious objectors and whatnot. And we also learned it. I think that's about it. Big ones, they are big ones, but... Oh, we learned not to kill children. And
Learn not to kill children.
Not loads.
5.
I think 6 again, because it's major ones, because 5 is the average, right?
Yeah.
There's major ones, but not lots, if you know what I mean.
What would you class as major ones?
Don't screw over the gods, be pious, because it's all about making sure you don't get vengeance on the gods as well.
Yeah.
We also learned that it's not human error, it's God error as well, it's about destiny, and the other stuff I said as well. I think there are large morals like captivity and stuff like that, and what do you reckon?
Fine, 6.
Getting creativity.
Creativity. I wouldn't say it's crazy creative.
I think it's interesting.
Okay, Achilles becoming immortal. Helena but are we including things like that? Achilles' story? Are we including the backstory of Helen becoming from the swan?
Well, I think not so less on the backstory, but like just who these people are and how they fit into the outbreak of the war. If you know what I mean. And
they're very well developed characters, which is nice.
Yeah. I think that the fact that they all come together, it starts off with the gods in strife and how that affects the mortal world, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because strife of the gods becomes strife of the humans, and it lasts 10 years, this war. So I think it's really important for that to be acknowledged, if you know what I mean. I don't know, I think that there's no monsters in there, just gods, but gods messing up quite badly.
Yeah.
I think it's quite creative, but I'm not overwhelmed by it. Again, I might 5 or 6, I think.
I actually would give this a 5, I really do.
I think it's fair.
Okay, WTF.
The fact that Paris kidnaps Thingy is quite WTF, and the fact that they force people to go to war when they don't want to.
Yeah, that's true.
Like a rack.
Other than that, there's nothing really crazy, I don't think.
Yeah, I think this is low. Maybe 2 or 3, maybe 3.
I agree.
So 6 plus 6 plus 5 plus 3, which is 21. No, that's not correct.
20. Is it not?
So 20, yeah. Ooh, that's a low one. I thought it was going to be higher.
I did too.
It's good myth, I think, because I think it's setting it up for everything.
It's setting us up.
We're ready for a Trojan War. Dan, are you excited?
I am, yeah. Bring it on.
Dan, do you remember, this is episode 30, and we actually made some predictions.
Oh shit, I forgot we did actually. Yeah okay. I forgot we did, yeah.
Do you remember what the predictions were?
Couldn't even tell you what the predictions were.
Have a guess. We made 3 predictions, and I'll tell you now, we made one of them. 2 of them, one I'm glad we didn't make, one I'm ashamed we didn't actually quite make it, but which ones do you reckon we did?
I don't know I can't remember what the predictions were. You got to tell me what the predictions were.
So, prophecy number 1. This is episode 18. And episode 18, we talked about Tiresias the prophet, and we made our own prophecies. And we always said, we can always trust the words of a prophet. But can we? Because
I actually can't remember. I never forgot we even did this. Yeah.
Prophecy number 1! That's why, because I remember these things, because I'm dead clever and all that. Prophecy number 1. Dan uses the N-word. And that's the one we hit! And we had to edit it out. No.
I did not say the N-word.
You did not.
Which is good.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad we didn't hit that one. Number 2. Now, this is a sly one, but Dan was to mispronounce a Greek word. And, Dan, do you realise I ushered you to do the first paragraph for that reason? Because what was that Greek word you couldn't say?
Oh, is that how you did it?
Yeah. Because I kind of ushered Dan to...
That's not fair, though, because that wasn't in Latin. It was in Greek alphabet. I don't know how to read the Greek alphabet.
In all fairness, you did get other Greek words wrong. In all fairness, like the Achaeans and stuff like that. So, that was one we kind of hit pretty badly. The one I wish we did hit was that we didn't mention Peterborough Services.
Oh, we didn't mention Peterborough Services.
You know what? I was very tempted to shoehorn it in, but it just didn't feel right to treat the gods like that. No. So... Yeah, I think I realised that you can't cheat destiny. We can't create our own.
You got
destiny.
one of them, right?
Yeah, although I did kind of manufacture it a bit, but then you did also do it yourself. So, wow. So Dan, what do you think about me? I feel quite Machiavellian, kind of like setting you up like that.
Glad you remembered that. Actually, I completely forgot that was the thing we did.
How
is it episode 30 already?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for listening to the podcast, and no one actually got in touch about prophecies, admittedly. But if you want to get in touch with us in the future for future stuff, why don't you predict what happens in episode 60? Yeah, I'm doing it already. There are more prophecies, okay?
Okay, yeah, let's get people to email in between now and episode 60. With
Yes. It can be anything you want. And it'll be, this time, it's totally fan-made, okay? So you send in the prophecies for episode 60. And we'll see if they happen.
What will we do or say in the podcast? We're normally quite reliable. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
The M word actually, to be fair, was a joke from you in the first place.
Yeah.
Obviously, we knew I wasn't going to say that. I don't think I've even said it on a podcast before.
Well, between you and... Well, yeah, I'll tell you off the podcast. But yeah, I want you to send it in. It was meant as a joke. But if you have some funny prophecies or things that you think that might happen in episode 60, email us in at misspodcast@gmail.com. Or if you just want to get in touch or leave us a funny message, it would be great to hear your correspondence, and we love hearing it. And thank you to Chris for sending your email in. And we've got a couple more emails to read out in the next couple of weeks as well. And if you want to send us a tweet to tell us how much you're liking it, you can tweet us at
misspodcast@gmail.com.
That's our email address.
Didn't know who you just said?
No, but tweet.
Oh, tweet, sorry.
Nice
at misspodcast.
He doesn't really listen to me. And also Facebook as well. And how many stars should you give us on iTunes, Dan?
Between 1 and 4.
That's not correct.
What, 3?
No.
7?
Don't. No.
Oh, I'm so confused by how star ratings work.
We're not very good at maths, are we?
No.
Maybe...
2 to the power of 6?
That'll do. 5 stars.
5 stars on iTunes, please.
And why don't you tell your friends about us? Tell your family about us. And tell your neighbours about us. If you're at work with someone, tell them to listen to this podcast. And what we're going to do to them if they don't tell people, Dan?
We are going to mention everyone who's never listened to Myths by name on the podcast.
Maybe we should do the opposite way around to be faster.
Everyone who's ever listened to the podcast by name, providing that you email us and tell me your name, and we can do shout outs.
This seems impractical. I think that's a logistical error.
Message us. Hi, this is Bloody Blah from Bloody Blah, and we just listen to Myths. Then say what your favourite episode is, and we'll read it out.
Actually, yeah. Tell us your favourite, and what we'll do, we'll retell that story again.
We'll give you a shout out. I promise.
Yeah, and tell us what your favourite episode is, or tell us your least favourite episode. Tell us which presenter you like more, stuff like that. Stuff that really cuts us up inside.
Something that really, pushes us apart.
Yeah, because nothing says.
Man blew a raspberry in my stomach earlier today. I feel like he thinks we're getting too close.
Wait, is that a problem for you?
No, I just...
Dan, shall we finish off the podcast by me doing a raspberry in your stomach? Go on, be funny. Go on. Yeah. Alright, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Get close to the...
go on. Do a good one, though. We're actually doing this.
Yeah,
Matt is actually about to blow a raspberry.
Goodbye, everyone.
Go on. That was a good one.
Bye, everyone.
Myths.